ugly is like a version of me.
When I feel ugly, it feels like I'm some sort of goblin, a troll. I feel like it's
Goblin
better.
is the exact word I was gonna use.
Hi, I'm Ryen.
I'm Katherine.
And this is Roses All Trash, the accompanying podcast to Read Community. We founded Read Community in June 2020 as an international reading club for essential justice texts and essential theory. I studied public policy at NYU, graduated in May 2020. I studied a lot of classical theories of political economy, as well as formal and informal processes of policymaking.
I recently graduated the Maryland Institute College of Art with a dual major in fibers and humanistic studies, as well as a concentration in experimental fashion and a minor in art history.
So because of our combined interests, we're super excited to launch Roses All Trash, which essentially is a way for us to read with our reading community. We're going to start by summarizing the text chosen for that week, and then going into a discussion portion, a discussion of the application of these texts and the product of their synthesis. And we'll finish up by tying these points together and probably posing a concluding question. This first installment accompanies the second week of the December calendar. What do we look like? First up, we have Deb Burgard. Are we ready to throw our weight around? Burgard goes into a history of America's policy war against obesity. And she asks, why haven't fat people organized? Quote, "It is not because fatness is rare. Most people, especially women and girls, feel fat regardless of their actual body weight." End quote. Burgard reminds us that corporate interests depend on people to feel insecure, and she lists these as examples: the multi-billion-dollar dieting industry, the diet food industry, the diet cookbook industry, and the bariatric surgery industry, the health and exercise club industry, and the cosmetic surgery industry. Then we go into Richard Shusterman's The Somatic Turn. Shusterman asserts that our obsession with our bodies doesn't just have to do with a shallow maintenance of the perception of our bodies, and it also doesn't have to do with a logical goal for a healthier body. It has to do with the feeling of health or the feeling of exertion. So he offers the study of Somaesthetics in order to philosophically discuss this 21st century obsession with fitness and physical self-care. He distinguishes between representative and experiential somatic practices. So that would be getting your hair and nails done versus engaging in meditation. But he reminds us that, quote, "Given the social construction of self, self-representation and experience are intimately connected." Next up, we have Breanne Fahs, Mapping Gross Bodies, the Regulatory Politics of Disgust. Fahs interviewed 20 women to summarize their attitude toward fatness, body hair, period sex, and more. And Fahs did this because for women, many ideas about the self are shaped by disgust. Quote, "When people feel disgust, they create moral judgments rather than rational cognitions." Lastly, we have Jason Whitesel, Fat Gay Men, Girth, Mirth, and the Politics of Stigma. In our excerpts, he chronicles Super Weekend, a sexual retreat for fat gay men and their quote-unquote chubby chasers. There, at that retreat, fat gay men who are shunned and downtrodden in society for at least being fat and being gay, they're able to inhabit hypersexualized, hyper-extroverted roles that emphasize and exhibit their fatness. As a thin man, Whitesel examines quote-unquote productive outlets for stigma such as, quote, sexual objectification, status differentiation, and celebrating otherness. So for our discussion, we went all the way back to that first question. Why haven't fat people organized? Well, they kind of have. I'm sure you've heard of the body positivity movement.
Since the body positivity movement as we know it is completely hosted on social media, what do you think the effect of how visual social media is as opposed to experiential or spiritual? What do you think that visual effect has on any type of body positivity movement?
I think it aestheticizes it, which I think is very ironic because the point of body positivity is kind of to escape from that aestheticization, but it creates just a different strain of it, is really what I feel like. And it also detaches it from reality, and it makes it about appearance and about beauty. Like, the body positivity movement is like, everyone is beautiful, but that's not really what I care about. What I care about is when fat people can't fit into a chair and don't have accessibility at a restaurant, or when, like, people get kicked off a plane because of their weight. or bias in the health in like medical fields that literally kills people. Like it's not about your belly rolls are beautiful. It's like people are literally dying. Like
it doesn't have to be that people are all the way dying. It should be more about the idea that all bodies are worthy of a full life. Like, you shouldn't have to subject your mental health to these pressures that are so hypocritical, not health-based.
The body positivity movement, it's got a lot of flaws. I think, firstly, that oftentimes people talk about, like, beauty, and it's like, you know, what matters is that you're healthy, and I take issue with that because a lot of people, like, first of all, it doesn't matter to me whether or not someone is healthy. That's such a weird, subjective term. Health is incredibly inaccessible. A lot of people have chronic illness or disabilities, and so health just, like,
or they live in food deserts,
yeah,
or we're not equipped with the nutritional knowledge to feed ourselves properly, to exercise properly. Some people don't have access to exercise, like,
yeah,
other than doing calisthenics at home on their, like, floor. Some people's neighborhoods aren't safe to jog in. Some people hate jogging, like,
yeah,
they would rather go to a gym, but of course gym memberships are expensive. There's, like, even stigma about what type of gym you go to. Like, sure, you could go to the YMCA, but it's like, then it's not for Instagram. Then you can't post a cute, like, little fit in the YMCA mirror while all of the grandmas are, like, swimming together or something, you know?
It's like, I really hate that because it's also like, it's really just an aesthetic sort of judgment when people talk about, like, it's okay if you're plus size as long as you're healthy or whatever, but they're, like, disguising it as some moral one, where, like, health doesn't have a moral value because health is much more out of our control than people think that it is. Like, people want to reassure themselves that, like, they've made a decision to be healthy by eating healthy and exercising healthy, and then they say, well, everyone else can make that decision, they're just choosing not to be healthy. That's not true. Your health can be taken from you at any moment.
Everything that we've said so far is definitely a critique I've seen openly on Instagram before. Mm-hmm. And there's other critiques, like, other really significant critiques, like, who does the body positivity movement belong to? Not skinny girls who, like, bloat at the end of the day and they're like, this is how I really look or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like for fat people. But I think the reason why all of these critiques exist and maybe are so easily put out there is because of how flawed, again, the platform is. Like,
yeah,
again, it's so visual. It's about showing that you feel a certain way, whether that's you feel bad or you feel great. We see other people's confidence, and instead of, obviously representation is important, and it's totally possible for a moment of witnessing someone else's confidence to transform your own relationship to your body. But that, like, snapshot of confidence is a moment on which you're hinging your lifelong relationship.
I think also something what you said about it being so visual, another critique I have of the body positivity movement is that it's so often sexualized, where it's like fat people can be sexy too, and it's like a fat person looking really hot in some lingerie, that's great, but if you're fat and you're 11 years old, that doesn't really help you. Like, a lot of it is still based on this idea of beauty and about being desirable, and not just, like, being happy with yourself, or, like, it is about being happy with yourself, but, like, a lot of times it's being happy with yourself because you've found a way to feel desirable or feel, like, sexually, like, attractive.
The issue is not that, like, we have to embrace reality over a fantasy, I would say. But again, you have to embrace your reality, and you have to acknowledge that it's on the margins of your experience of reality. And the fact that the body positivity movement is based around visual sharing of confidence and visual exchange of confidence and sexiness and desirability, it's so ironic, like you said at the beginning. One thing that really clarified my relationship to my body and to the way that my body is quote-unquote supposed to look according to body standards now. Obviously, I am very far from fat, or, like, I haven't experienced, like, a lot of body dysmorphia in my life and stuff. But, like, my body will never look like the slim, thick standard. Unless I work out extensively and very specifically on certain parts of my body. If I enjoyed exercise, sure, like, why not? Then I can just focus that exercise toward, like, my butt or whatever. But I don't even like exercise. I try to do enough of it to stay, like, fit and healthy and, like, feel, like, good or whatever. But in order to get, like, an ass at all, have to be doing such targeted workouts, very specific, and the fact that I would choose those to be my workouts would mean that I was working toward this body type. You know, you can't engage innocently in that, because by choosing to do whatever types of exercise, like let's say you hate jogging but you decide to jog because that's what helps you lose weight, then you're clearly upholding like the need to be skinny over the fact that maybe you'd rather just prefer to like walk on the treadmill.
Yeah.
Or maybe you'd rather play badminton or something.
That's like something I've seen like on Instagram. I think it was your fat friend. It's anonymous fat essayist. She's incredible, love her. But she said many times before that she doesn't, at least I hope I'm not misquoting her here. So I will correct later if I am. But something that I've seen often on her account is that like you really can't be fat positive and still be actively, consciously trying to lose weight. Those things are really hard to coexist at the same time. Like you can't.
If it's possible to be both healthy and fat, as the body positivity movement says, or if it's possible to be healthy and look any type of way, then I shouldn't be working out to attain a certain type of body.
Yeah.
Why would I spend my time doing that as long as I'm working out, like, or whatever, like even taking a walk 3 times a week, that's enough to stay healthy. Why am I spending my hours and like stressing about like, oh shoot, I should be working on my ass right now when I could just be reading, or I could be watching TV. Like, it's my life, you know, it's my time.
That's a trade-off, or like a decision I came myself a while ago too. I was like, I do like exercising to a degree. It's something I enjoy doing. I've gotten in the running and I really do enjoy it. But I enjoy it because of the way it makes you feel physically, like the endorphins and the way my muscles feel after. And I love it when I can see that I've improved. That makes me feel really good about myself. But as someone who's dealt with anorexia for years, I think like a couple years ago, I was like, okay, given my genetic predisposition, if I really wanted to, I could look exactly like Bella Hadid's body. I mean, I'd be shorter, but like, I could get pretty damn close if I spent 4 hours a day working out and like only ever ate fruits and scrambled egg whites. Like, I would have to sacrifice a shit ton of time, a shit ton of energy, and my quality of life in order to achieve that. You know, I wouldn't be able to have cake at my friend's birthday party if I wanted to. Like, I wouldn't be able to go get, you know, Italian food with my family, like, or have pancakes on Sundays like we do.
And those things should just be things you don't even think about. It should be like, do I want pancakes today? Yes. Then you should be able to have them and then have a neutral relationship with the body that results from your preferences for taste or for activities, for lifestyle. You know?
That's something I've realized about like so many models. Is like I'll see videos about them and like, you know, what I eat in a day, or like my workout regime. I'm like, damn, like they literally do, like, they put their whole life into it. That's like
I
kind
feel
of the
that
trade-off.
It comes down to like, what are my real preferences? Like, what is my real personality? And like, how would I spend my life if I truly had a neutral relationship with my body or the way I look?
Yeah, I wanted that too, because like I really clearly do not have a neutral relationship with my body, and I don't know if I ever really will.
Yeah, I mean, do you think there's any type of body positivity or body neutrality or mind-body relationship that can be modeled for people that won't be totally hypocritical or just a feedback loop?
I have no idea. No fucking clue, man. I literally, like, man, at the end of the day, I just want to wake up and, like, feel okay. Like, I'm not asking that I wake up and be like, I am the sexiest person on earth. I am so beautiful.
We shouldn't need to feel that way.
Yeah, but, like, I just want to wake up and be like, hey, what am I going to do today? And not, just not think about this.
Yeah.
Like, I want my thought to be on, like, oh, I'm really excited that I'm going to get lunch with my friend and I have time to read the book that I'm starting today. And not be like, go straight to the mirror and be like, how do I look?
Yeah, and you know, there's going to be bitches who are like, I can't relate, like, I have a healthy relationship, like, it's possible, and like, okay.
Good for you. I'm like, I'm envious. That sounds great for you, but that's not my reality right now.
Yeah.
I want to talk about, like, the American dream. The idea, have you heard of this, the internalized corset?
No, go
or
ahead.
the internal corset?
Yeah.
It's something that sort of arose in the 1920s. People talk about how women were freed from corsets. And there's a whole thing about that in terms of, like, corsets really weren't all that dangerous and awful, only if you wore them incorrectly. That's a whole thing many people have talked about. In fact, in many ways, they provided great spinal support. You'll still see people who work, like, in building and, like, construction. They'll wear these, like, braces on their back, which are essentially, like, really small corsets. this idea of the internalized corset is that women, when they started wearing these, like, looser clothes, like, you know, everyone credits Coco Chanel, but she didn't do it. Neither did Paul Poiret. For the record, fuck Coco Chanel. But so, like, the idea of the flapper dress, and then the thing is, like, oh, they were freed from corsets, and they could, like, have their, like, free natural body, but they weren't at all. There was still a standard of the body. The standard was just, instead of wearing form wear to achieve that now, you were expected to just have that body, which in some ways is honestly a higher standard. Like, it's not like you could wear a corset to get the body that you're supposed to have. Now you're supposed to have the body you're supposed to have, but just without the corset. And that sort of spawned this, like, arguably sort of was a huge sort of inception of the diet industry, because now that people sort of weren't able to put a corset on to achieve the form, they had to, like, find a way to achieve it through diet and exercise and, like, you know, pills or whatever, and that became this internalized corset. Now, instead of the outside thing you put on, it's an inner thing that you do to yourself, and it's become part of, like, the American dream, is that if you can work hard enough to achieve wealth, and you can work hard enough to achieve fame, and that's the American dream, you can work hard enough to achieve the slender body. That's the ideal. And that's also based on the idea that, with the false idea that you can control your weight, which you really can't that much. You can control it very mildly. But there are, like, hundreds of factors that go into your weight that you can't control. But the false notion that you can control your weight, and therefore those who are slender have higher self-discipline because they've controlled their weight, and therefore are morally superior.
Yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence that Instagram is used, 1, to show off your body, but 2, to show off your lifestyle, which, of course, is directly linked to your wealth.
Yeah.
You know, and you can fake your body through modifying apps, or you can fake your lifestyle through, like, photo ops, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if you have one nice bag, you can show it off in every single Instagram. Or if you have a nice car, like, you pool your resources into this one thing that you feel like will legitimize you.
I've seen all these articles that were like, how getting a nose job, like, you know, fix my dysmorphia. And I don't know, like, it's obviously not my business to pass judgment on what anyone does with their body or with their money. Because honestly, many times have I wanted to get a nose job. And, like, lip fillers and, like, you know, recontour my jawline or whatever the fuck.
It's kind of like, if you just imagine yourself in the Hunger Games capital, like, it's fun. Like, it's shopping.
Yeah.
Just shopping for your body instead of your closet, you know?
If you have the resources, you can buy whatever face you want.
I think we spend too much time debating whether this is acceptable or this is okay or this upholds body standards or this doesn't. Because the fact is, like, value systems like sexuality, lifestyle, whatever, beauty, again, is just such a pervasive societal element that everyone has different relationships to. They form those relationships under different conditions based on their personality or their family or whatever, and it comes out in different ways. Like, I believe that some people really get a nose job and then they never think about their nose again. But I also think that some people use it to enable their own insecurities.
That I know myself well enough to know that that is what I would do. If I did get plastic surgery, it would not cure my dysmorphia. That, like, I know that.
Yeah, so
I don't need to try it out. Why waste $10,000 when I know that I will still feel bad about myself?
I think it's just, it even maybe buys into this, like, it gives power to this, like, image economy by debating whether or not certain celebrities are insecure about this, and that's why they got it, and certain people using their time to defend celebrities that they don't know and their decisions. Like, why are we talking about individuals here? There's so many different factors that go into somebody's relationship with their body, and hopefully people grow throughout their lifetime. Like, the average person grows and matures and learns to love themselves. Because of how differently their starting points are, their end points will also look very different. Yeah. This morning I woke up and I was like, it's almost like ugly as a mood. Like, where you were talking about, like, morality being conflated with beauty and appearance, it's like, ugly is like a version of me. Like, there's a version of me that's ugly. It's like a almost like a Jekyll Hyde thing. I'm like,
that's a great way of putting it, though.
Yeah, like, there's a monster version of me that's ugly, and everything that has to do with ugly, which is unhealthy. Like, a procrastinator, like, doesn't get any work done, hasn't accomplished anything, is faking all of my accomplishments that I have accomplished, you know?
Yeah.
Like, there's this like hidden basement creature version of me, but the main word I use for it is ugly.
Yeah.
Isn't that horrible?
I understand what you mean. Like, I think I've described myself like this to other people before. This internalized image of myself that, like, has been popping up less and less, which is good. It's nice to know I've made improvements of myself, but I see myself as this little, like, bridge troll. Like, I feel myself as this sort of, like, when I feel ugly, it feels like I'm some sort of goblin. A troll, I feel like, is better.
Goblin is the exact word I was going to use. And you know what is crazy is that the specific things I use to substantiate my ugliness are so based in language I've learned on social media. Like, literally, I'm sure my mom felt ugly. Like, I'm sure my mom has her own little, like, bridge troll self. But she probably didn't think, like, oh, she's ugly because she's dehydrated and she doesn't drink enough water. Like, that's definitely something I learned on social media, you know?
Yeah.
Like, why am I insecure about not drinking enough water? Because that's what, like, social media says. You have to drink not only to be beautiful, but to be healthy.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. There are other, like, when I feel ugly, it's often I feel inadequate. I feel stupid. I feel like I haven't accomplished myself, and I feel like I never will accomplish anything in my life. And I don't think that's something that, like, only exists because of social media. Like, I'd still be feeling inadequate and comparing myself to others if Instagram did not exist, but it really doesn't help anything at all. I feel like my skin also is something that is, social media has really influenced, or, like, really sort of spurred my insecurity around my skin, where in reality I don't think I would feel quite as insecure as I do about it if it was just based off of what I saw other people looking like, because other people have skin that's pretty similar to mine in a lot of ways. Like, my skin is not that unusual, it's pretty average.
Should we do, like, an insecurity speed
round? Let's go.
Go.
Well, what's your biggest insecurity?
Right? Oh my god, right now?
Yes.
That's so... Oh, my biggest insecurity... Oh my god.
This is not speedy.
I know, but you asked for my biggest insecurity. Like, that's a big one.
What's the first insecurity that comes to mind?
I'm, like, literally balding. Like, I'm probably not balding, but I don't have a lot of hair on, like, the front half of my head. I have a lot of hair in the back. Even in, like, baby photos, you can see I have, like, bald spots, quote unquote. It's not a bald spot. It's just,
I was bald for the first 3 years of my life.
It's just, like, there's no, like, follicles there or something, or, like, my hair parts
It's
there.
less dense.
Yeah, and it's, like, now, like, I, like, worry about it all the time.
It's true.
Especially because we've been told, like, that's another thing. There's so much information about beauty now, where now I know that if you notice any hair loss, it's because 50% or more of your hair is already gone. Like, you don't notice it until 50% is gone already. And so now I'm like...
I didn't know that.
I
didn't need to know that.
I'm definitely at, like, 75.
I worry a lot because I wear my hair up a lot, but I'm worried I'm going to get traction alopecia around my hairline.
Oh my god. Learning about traction alopecia also...
Like, every time I put my hair in a ponytail, I'm actively destroying my hairline.
I know. 20 years is, like, not enough to have established a stable relationship with everything around you, especially when everything feels like it's changing and you don't know what's expected of you. And neither of us, maybe some people have, accomplished things that can become the cornerstone for their self-image, but we haven't. Like, we feel like we've done much less than we would be happy doing, you know?
Yeah. I feel like also something people don't talk about when it comes to self-image is that it's really hard to create a healthy self-image and a healthy relationship to your body when your body is constantly changing. Like, your body is, like, it's really not going to be the same from year to year, and it's really, like, it takes years to build a healthy relationship to the body that you have, let alone, like, the body that you don't know that you're going to have, which could be anything.
And then you have a bunch of other stuff going on, probably. Like, it's just...
Plus, you got to worry about your job and your relationship or lack thereof.
And knowing about the specifics of traction alopecia and, like, my maybe, like, predisposition to it is just horrible.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to continue this speed round. So, your turn. What's the first thing that comes to mind?
I'm really insecure about my upper arms.
Your upper arms?
Yeah, like right here. Because it's kind of, like, loose skin and just kind of, like, you know, there's, like, they're soft, there's not a lot of muscle. Like, I've always wanted to have the person who has, like, the perfectly toned, where there's, like, your bicep sort of goes out a little bit and it dips in and it's, like, defined and you see the muscle. I have no muscle definition on my body. Like, I don't know, like, I do work out and I enjoy working out, but, like, sometimes I would like to sit on the couch and watch TV and, like, eat some ice cream and, like, feel feel good about myself, you know, and rest. But like, if I really wanted to have those arms, I think I might have to give that up. So.
So it's my turn?
Yeah.
I'm insecure about, I have no cartilage in the tip of my nose, so my nose doesn't go up. It goes like, it like kind of droops, although it's not crooked by any means. It just sort of droops at the end.
Okay, I'm also very insecure about my nose. I didn't know it had anything with the cartilage, but I have a very, like, I guess bulby nose that kind of like goes down too. That really bothers me.
Okay, I'm insecure about, okay, this is serious. I feel like just as I eat throughout my life, the tops of my teeth are narrowing. Like, they're rotting away, because that's what teeth do, because they don't, like, last forever.
What the
know?
fuck?
Like, I'm getting gaps at the top of my teeth.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's just, like, what am I gonna do? Like, worry about the gaps in my teeth? Like,
you can always get caps.
I know, like, maybe I'll just get veneers. I don't know. But that's also, like, I shouldn't have to get veneers.
Yeah, my teeth shape is something I've always really liked. Like, I spent years with, like, braces and headgear, and my teeth were a fucking mess as a child. But, like, I think I have pretty nice teeth.
Let's do that. Let's do things we like about an anti-insecurity.
Okay, you go.
Speed round. Okay. I've been liking my lips a lot lately. I think they've changed. They used to be thinner. Now they're thicker, and I haven't even done anything to them. So
nice.
I like that.
I hate my lips. That's one of
Okay, that's not the round. This is not what we're doing right now.
Yeah, I like my teeth. I think I have teeth that are straight. I think they're a good size for my face. They're like the perfect in between where I don't have little nub teeth, but I don't have horse teeth either.
Other people are probably insecure about their nub teeth.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Anti-insecurity. I like my collarbones, but that's a given. Like,
yeah.
I feel like that's not something I actively love. I just always loved my collarbones, and I think that's how it should be. Like, I should be able to look in a mirror and be like, nice, and then walk away.
I really like my collarbones and my neck too. I've always been told that, like, I have a very, like, elegant neck. Maybe people are like, what the fuck is that girl talking about? But, like, I really like my collarbones. I really like my neck. I've always thought they're very pretty, like, up to, like, here, my shoulders.
I'm actually not into my neck very much because it's very, like, lumpy. Like, I have an Adam's apple, which is fine. I've never been really insecure about that. But when I take pictures, like, from an above angle, my neck just looks so old womanish. Like, it's, like, uncomfortable. Sometimes I feel that way about, like, and I know this is, like, really stupid, but, like, my rib cage showing and stuff.
Yes. Okay. This is so stupid that I've held on to something that, like, an ex told me. An ex told me that I look like a cow because my rib cage sticks out a lot, especially when I lie down. I don't know why it stuck with me, because that was also the same guy who, like, he, like, would grab my forearm. He's like, you know, see, no one wants to fuck you because, like, you can feel your bones. It's disgusting. And then, like, we went to dinner a couple hours later, and he's like, why do you eat so much? Like, this is why you're so fat. So, like, clearly, he had issues other than my body. Something I like about myself is I think I have really beautiful hands. You can't see it this close.
That's lucky. A lot of people hate their hands.
I have really beautiful nail beds, naturally. My nails grow long and straight. They're not as strong as I would like them to be, but I have beautiful hands. Thanks, Mom.
As we sort of concluded, a neutral relationship with the body is the most ideal one, but the most important thing to remember is that everyone's relationship with their body is unique and ever-changing because of how pervasive social frames on bodies are. We don't even know if the ideal body relationship can even be taught or modeled, let alone modeled through social media. We can only really offer this caveat. Be wary of morality coloring your opinions about your body, about other bodies, about health and its political infrastructure, its policy infrastructure, and about the lifestyles that you idolize, because they're probably tied to these visuals that are not organic, that are completely created, and are trying to sell you something at the end of the day. The people creating those images have no incentive to provide you with healthy or positive influences. They just don't. Please remember that your body is trying hard to live, even if you feel like it's sabotaging your health or your weight or even your capabilities. It's really doing its best. And unfortunately, it's up to our brains to be the leader in that relationship. And we hope that you visualize your relationship with your body in this way. Something that you've been entrusted to care for, something that you've been entrusted to use for your own good. You know, you and your body are a team. With that said, thank you so much for listening and or watching. Subscribe on Spotify, subscribe and like and comment on YouTube, and please, 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 please rate and review on Apple Podcasts because that's the main way that we're recommended to different people. We would love for our reading community to grow. Also, DM us at our personal Instagrams. I'm at RRRYEN and at Katherine.shark with any questions, recommendations, send us hate. We'll literally respond to anything. We love you, we respect you, and we're rooting for you. See you next week.